All right, so continuing from where we stopped in the last presentation, here we were discussing about the second paragraph where they have mentioned some ground rules about the extraterrestrial search. And the two rules that were discussed were that they are not going to believe in the UFOs, and that we are assuming that whatever foreign bodies are there, whatever um, aliens that visit Earth, whoever aliens are there, the ones who come here would be similar to human beings in terms of their body structure. So they will resemble us. These are the ground rules, and that is why for question number B, which is like paragraph B, the correct answer is assumptions underlying the search. So that is the correct answer to this question. And moving on to the third, let's see if there are some other questions we can answer using this knowledge. So we are using the combing technique to get the answers, as you can see. So let's see. Alien civilizations may be able to help humans overcome some serious problems. Yeah, this is already given in paragraph 1. They did say the purpose, and in the first paragraph they have mentioned it. If you go, if I want you to, if you want to go back and check, here it is. The mere existence of such civilization will tell us long-term survival is possible or not. So these are some of the benefits which we can draw from alien civilization. So this question is from paragraph 1 itself. May be able to, look at this, the tone is may be able to, so it's talking about the possibility of it, and the answer is true here. Overcome serious problems, serious problems related to pandemics and nuclear wars and everything, because all these um, what do you call, planets, and the people on those planets uh, might be able to share their experience with us because they have lived longer than us. So this is what this particular statement refers to. uh, Extraterrestrial intelligence, SETI scientists are trying to find a life form that resembles humans. So this is also true. We just read that we are expecting that they would look like us. Americans and Australians have cooperated on joint research projects. So we don't know about this. So I'll not read rest of the questions because they are yet to come. So okay, fine. With this information, we have been able to answer some 3 to 4 questions. And now we can go to the next paragraph, which is paragraph C. So let's quickly read that. Okay, even when we make these assumptions, so these are the assumptions. This again says that these assumptions, so these assumptions means these assumptions. So that is why we can make out that this paragraph B is all about assumptions. So even when we make these assumptions, our understanding of other life forms is still severely limited. So they are talking about the limitation of our knowledge. We do not even know, for example, how many stars have planets, and we certainly do not know. So it's talking about we do not know, we do not know. So we do not know. I'll write this. We do not know. All right, so what we don't know? We do not know even, for example, how many stars are there and all this. However, now see, this is very important. Look at these kind of keywords. They are called as the discourse markers. This is very important. Please make a note of it. This is very, very important. Discourse markers. Discourse markers such as however, but, tell you that there is a U-turn happening here. So up till now they were saying we don't know, all those things. But then now there's a U-turn, and what are they saying? When we look at these many stars in our galaxy and these many million galaxies in the observable universe, which means we are talking about something which is very huge, it seems unconceivable that at least one of these planets does not have a life form on it. Inconceivable is unimaginable, which means at least one of them would have life. So here they are talking about the possibility of life or probability of life, because there are so many planets, so many galaxies. It is quite unconceivable that at least one of them would not have life. The possibility of life is very high, is what they are trying to say here. In fact, the best educated guess we can make using the little that we do know about the conditions for carbon based life leads us to estimate that perhaps 1 in 100,000 stars might have a life-bearing planet orbiting it. So which means that, if we simply go by the game of probability, or by the chance, out of 100,000 stars, it might be possible that at least one would have life, which means the chances of life on other planets is very, very high. That means that our nearest neighbors are perhaps these many light years away, which is almost next door neighbor, or next door in astronomical terms. So if I look at this whole paragraph, they started with a lot of I don't know kind of tone. We don't know how far it is, we don't know all these things. But then there was a U-turn, wherein they introduced the U-turn with a however, and they said that since there are so many stars and so many galaxies, the possibility of life on one of them is very high. And then they said that even so, if we look at it, probably the nearest planet will be maybe 100 light years away from us. So basically, if I look at the whole paragraph in its entirety, it talks about the possibility of life, and it has a very positive tone towards saying that, oh, there might be some life on these planets. So if I go to this question, let me see, seeking transmission, appropriate response. So not seeking, see, I'm just looking at the keywords. They're not talking about seeking transmission or appropriate response or vast distances. Maybe this could be one of the men. So I'll say this: assumptions, reasons, knowledge, likelihood of life on other planets. This is the nearest likelihood of life on other planets. They are saying all these numbers. With the help of numbers, they are trying to prove that there is a strong likelihood of life on other planets. So I'll go with this. As far as paragraph C is concerned, the answer would be 7th. For this one, we made 4th. So yeah, we are going good so far. Let me see what other questions can I answer using this knowledge. What kind of signals we have done this? How many stars in the world? Most powerful radio telescope searching. They've not yet used the word radio telescope, so I'll not delve into this because I don't know. The keyword is radio telescope, so I don't know. So I'm just circling it, and I'll not pay attention to this one right now. But let me go to other questions. SETI scientists are trying to find a life form that resembles humans in many ways. We have already said true for this. Then the Americans and Australians have cooperated. There is nothing Americans and this is not yet come. So I'll go to paragraph D pretty much. So this technique, the advantage of this technique is we can keep on forgetting all these passages for which we have already got the answers. Now see, this next paragraph is a long paragraph. So I'll try to read it in parts. I'll try to, again, like the way I did this one, for the thing which is before, however, that's a different thing. And the part which is after, however, that is different thing. So, okay, fine. Now let us look at paragraph D. An alien civilization could choose. Now see, they are talking about possibility, could choose. Look at the tone of it. Whenever you read a passage, look at the tone of it. So could choose is like they are talking about the possibility. Many different ways of sending information across the galaxy, but many of these either require too much energy or else several or severely attenuated while traversing the vast distances across the galaxy. So fine, what are the options available with them? So they have to use a proper vehicle to pass on the information to us. Otherwise, the information would get lost on the way. It turns out that for a given amount of transmitted power, radio waves, okay, so radio waves in the frequency range of this and this travel the greatest distance, which means radio waves. So the focus is radio waves. Because so in order to send some message from the other planets to us, radio waves are the best source. And so all the searches to date have concentrated on looking for radio waves. Now see, this radio waves has come twice in this paragraph. So in order to send messages from other planets, the waves which are useful are radio waves in this frequency range. So far, there have been a number of searches by various groups around the world, including Australian searches. Now, Australian word has come, and I remember some questions were there. Using the radio telescope at this place, New South Wales. Until now, there have not been any detectable detections from the 100 stars which have been searched. So no detection is there. The scale of the searches has been increased dramatically since 1992. Now, US has also come into picture. US voted for this much million per year for 10 years to conduct a thorough search. So basically all these guys are searching, and what they are searching for is radio waves coming from other planets. Australia is in the fray. Your US is also doing something about it. Much of the money on this project is being spent on developing special hardware needed to search. The project has two parts. One part is targeted search using the world's largest. Now see, there was a question related to telescope, so I'm just underlining this. The American operated telescope, this at this place. This part of the project is searching for these many likely stars. I'm just circling all these because there are some factual questions, so there might be some question related to it. So how many stars they are searching? They are searching 1,000 stars, and they are using this signal 1,000 to 3,000 megahertz, which is already mentioned earlier here. The other part of the project is undirected search. Undirected search means like broadcast, which is monitoring all the space with a low sensitivity using the similar antennas of NASA. So one is like very focused search on 1,000 likely stars, and one is undirected search, which means we are trying to search everywhere. So this is what it is talking about. It is talking about radio waves. It's talking about this particular range. It's talking about what Australia is doing, what US is doing, and they are making some telescope. They are spending more money. The purpose is to find life forms. All right, fine. So like, let's look at this D paragraph. Seeking transmission of radio signals from planets. Of course, this makes sense because radio signals they have mentioned at the beginning itself, and they are trying to seek transmission. So I'll go with this, but let me say search others also. Vast distances, assumptions, reasons for search, knowledge of extraterrestrial life forms, likelihood. This is the only one which matches. Seeking transmission of radio signals from planets. So radio signals, this particular passage has been talking about that, and I would rather go with first for paragraph D. None other matches. And let me see if I can answer some more questions with this information. So the information I have is that radio signals are the signals they are searching for. Australia is trying to do something, and US is also trying to do something. There are 1,000 stars which are on which there is a focus, and then there is a whole space which is being searched. So let me see. The Americans and Australians have cooperated to on joint research. Well, they have not cooperated. I don't know whether they have or not. All I know is that they have mentioned Australia at one place, they have mentioned America at one place. But have they cooperated or no? I don't know. So I'll answer it as NG. The passage does not talk about any kind of cooperation. You can go back and see they have mentioned America and Australia here for sure. Australia is doing something and America is also doing something, but we don't know whether they are cooperating or not, just that they are all working on the same goal. So far, SATI scientists have picked up radio signals from several stars. No, they have clearly said that there hasn't been any success. Until now, there have not been any detections from hundreds of stars. So this is the point where this question is answered. Until now, there hasn't been any detections. So no detections. We have not yet picked up any signals from any stars. We have not yet been successful there. The answer is false to this one. NASA project attracted criticism from some of the Congress members. Now they do talk about NASA project here. As you can see, NASA, they have given this much money, but has it attracted some criticism or not? That is not mentioned here. So the answer would be not given. You can read that part once again. They have not mentioned any kind of criticism. Let us just go there and see what they are saying. So NASA 10 million for 10 years to conduct a thorough research. Much of the money in this project is being spent on developing special hardware. Project has two parts. One is this, other is this. But then we don't know whether any person is criticizing it or not. So I'll say not given. Attracted criticism. We don't know. They have not mentioned anything of that sort. Whether people are against it, whether there is a criticism or not. So I'll say not given. The last statement says if a signal from outer planet is received, it is important to respond promptly. We don't know whether we should respond promptly or not. How many stars the world's most powerful radio telescope is searching? Most powerful radio telescope has been mentioned here. The American operated telephone hub and this one French telescope in NC, this part of the project is so most powerful. Let me see which is most powerful. Where is that word? Project is being spent on developing special hardware needed. The project has two parts, using world's largest radio telescope. So most powerful and largest matches here. So there should be answer here only. The American operated telescope, this one, and the French telescope, this one in France. This part of the project is searching 1000 likely stars. So they are searching how many stars? So the answer is 1000 stars. So how many stars? The answer is 1000 stars. All right, now let's look at any other question there. So that's it. I think that's what we can gather from this paragraph. Now let's come to the last paragraph. It says there is a considerable debate. Okay, so what is the debate? Over how should we react? So how we should react are they talking about now? So if somebody is sending some message to us, what should we do? Everybody agrees that we should not reply immediately, quite apart from the um, impracticability of impracticality of sending a reply over such a large distance at short distance. It raises a host of ethical questions that would have to be addressed by the global community. So they are saying that do not reply immediately because of whatever reasons they have given. Would the human race face the culture shock if faced with a superior or much older civilization? Maybe. There is no urgency about this. The stars being searched are hundreds of light years away, so it takes hundreds of years for their signals to reach us and a further few hundred years for our report to go there. It is not important then. There is a delay of few years or decades. While the human race debates the question of whether to reply and perhaps carefully drafts a reply. So if we get some kind of information, we should not answer it quickly, and we should answer it after a proper evaluation, after proper um, thought process behind how we should answer. So that's what this paragraph says, that we should not answer immediately. So likelihood, knowledge of extra reasons for such assumptions, vast distances, appropriate response. So basically this is appropriate response, because how we should respond is being discussed here. So that is the heading. If I go to the next questions, uh, how many stars we have already answered. The signal from outer space is received. It will be important to respond promptly, not promptly. They are saying take your time. You are not supposed to answer promptly. You are supposed to first draft, understand the question, and then answer it. So 26th is false. So we have done all the questions from this passage. Let me just sum up all the techniques. Number one, I told you that you are supposed to read the questions first. Read the questions first, and based on the questions, you should try to mold your technique or adopt the right technique. Number two, you can use the technique called as combing. In combing, what do? We read one paragraph at a time, and we try to answer all the questions related to that paragraph first. Once you are done with that paragraph, we can go to the next paragraph, read it very thoroughly, and answer questions. Once you are done, you can go to the next paragraph. The advantage of this is you don't have to remember everything. So once you have answered the questions related to it, you can forget it. Once you have answered questions related to it, you can forget it, and then you can move on to the next paragraphs. Another important thing that we did was we kept on making some notes, and if there was some, you can see we were marking stuff, and all these milestones actually help a great deal. So you should make some annotations, which is very important while discussing the questions. It is important that you make some annotations. Sorry for the wrong spelling there. And what yeah, you should try to focus on what you know rather than what you don't know. Like for example, in this particular passage, I'm not a space scientist. I don't know what exactly is all these what is the purpose of this, and I'm not really too deep into space exploration. But then if I go from the perspective of a, a common man, I can answer so many questions. I don't have to be really concerned about knowing the whole stuff in its entirety. Even a superficial understanding of the passage is enough for me to answer the questions. So this is something which is super important, that you should not try to get into the thick of the thin things. I mean, do not try to understand everything which is written there. Just have to be clear about the question and answer the question thoroughly, so that you can move very, very fast on answering the question and you save your time. I think that's pretty much about it. The technique that we have discussed is um, called as combing, where we focus on one paragraph at a time and answer questions on that. I think the most important takeaway of this whole discussion is that when you are presented with information about a subject which is alien to you, you need not understand it in its entirety. Read with anticipation, use the knowledge that you already possess, and base your answers based on what you already know. Do not really think too much about what you don't know, and don't get challenged by that. I think that's the crux of it, and I hope this was very, very useful to you. Do write your comments, do share, do subscribe in case you like it, and in case you want any kind of help, you are most welcome to contact me, and I would be able to help you in every possible way. So do these questions, apply these techniques of combing, and all the very best to you for all your exams, and I hope you become successful in your life and achieve your life goals and live a prosperous life. Thank you so much.